The activewear industry is one of the fastest growing industry.
The sports industry is the fastest growing industry.
And the reason, as we all know, is the rising awareness of health and fitness after the COVID era.
The $3 billion fitness industry is set to hit a reset post-COVID.
But the fun fact here is, the major threat for the big players in this industry like Adidas and Nike is not the unhealthy lifestyle, but the duplicate and fast copy products that are sold under their brand logo.
All counterfeit goods in a global market worth over $500 billion and rising.
A report shows that market size of counterfeit goods is as big as 449 billions, which is more than the entire GDP of Bangladesh.
The quantity and quality of counterfeits has never been greater.
Where the most legendary brands like Louis Vuitton, Gucci and even Nike are losing millions of dollars due to the fake products, there is this one brand that manages to take advantage out of these fast copy products. And this brand is none other than the iconic Lululemon. Lululemon is the fourth largest activewear brand at 9.18 billions, standing shoulder to shoulder with Puma in terms of revenue. But if you see the operating profit margin, Under Armour is at 4.6%, Puma is at 7%, Nike is at 14%, but Lululemon is above Nike at 16.5% of net profit. And Adidas is at a loss of 0.26% in the year 2023.
Sports gear maker Adidas has reported a $540 million loss in the December quarter.
While Nike has brand icons like Michael Jordan and LeBron James, Adidas has Lionel Messi and David Beckham, Puma has collaborated with Virat Kohli, but if you see Lululemon, it does not sponsor any celebrity icon. So you must be thinking they must be selling at a cheaper price, right? But surprisingly, Lululemon products are twice as expensive as Nike and Adidas. So the question is, how on earth is Lululemon able to position its price twice as high without any celebrity face? And above all, how the hell did they benefited from the duplicate products? The case study of Lululemon is not just a marketing lesson for people like you and me, but also the giants like Apple was also inspired from its strategies.
Can I tell you, I'm a Lululemon fanatic, okay? I'm talking socks, t-shirts, pants, underwear, bags, caps, everything.
This story dates back to 1998 Canada, where the founder of Lululemon, Chip Wilson, who was also a yoga enthusiast, spotted an opportunity in the sportswear industry. The organized sportswear industry can be classified into 4 categories. Starting from the bottom of the pyramid is the mass market segment, at a price below $50, which includes brands like Champion, Old Navy and Target C9. Then comes the economy segment, which is priced between $50 to $100, which includes brands like Nike, Adidas and Puma. Then comes premium segment, priced between $100 to $150, where we have brands like Under Armour. And the last is luxury segment, priced above $200, which includes high-end brands like Balenciaga, Fendi and Dior. To add on to that, all these brands are dedicated only to males, and there were no dedicated brands for female athletic wears. Even those days, a slogan "Shrink it and pink it" was very common. And this slogan means when a male athletic cloth get old and shrinked, brand just modify it for females. Why? That's because during those days, number of females in sports were very low. So it's a lost deal for brands to dedicatedly manufacture and design for females. And above all, what Chip Wilson noticed that although there were very few women in sports, but yoga as a category was predominated by women, who were mostly from upper class and wealthy families. And if you observe carefully, you can find the same trend here in India, where women from lower and middle class households does not have both luxury and time for their health. So did you notice the gap? There was no major player in the premium segment, and a huge market in the female athletic wear category is yet to be capitalized. So a premium sportswear brand dedicated for women's became a perfect sweet spot for Lululemon. And going ahead, what Lululemon did was nothing short of a marketing genius. The marketing strategy of Lululemon is very similar to what Marlboro did back in 1970s. In the year 1971, advertising cigarettes were permanently banned from television after it was proved that tobacco causes cancer.
There was a very strong relationship and probably a causal relationship between heart disease and cigarette smoking.
And as soon as this announcement happened, every other brand started to justify cigarettes.
It is legal to sell cigarettes on radio or television in the United States. It marks, as we like to say, the end of an era.
But what Marlboro did was, instead of getting into the legal battle, they introduced a fictional character named Marlboro Man. The Marlboro Man commercial showcases a well-built cowboy which represents style and elegance and a perfect symbol of manliness that every man aspires to. And the Marlboro Man commercial becomes so popular that Marlboro became the #1 cigarette company without even showcasing cigarettes in their entire commercial. This is the power of lifestyle marketing, where the consumer do not buy the product but the lifestyle and aspirational value of the product. So what Lululemon did was introduce the concept of Power Women and Supergirls, which represents elegance and freedom. Like every man found aspirational value in Marlboro Man, every wealthy and independent woman resonated herself to a power woman. And Lululemon did this not by spending thousands on TV commercials, but through yoga instructors and fitness influencers. And a point to be noted here is that Lululemon stores are not like any other clothing stores. Instead, this is what exactly a Lululemon store looks like. A yoga studio at the center and a boutique at the other side. So instead of spending millions on celebrity to endorse, the yoga instructors become their brand ambassadors, which leads to high degree of authenticity among the consumers. This is how Lululemon built a robust word of mouth through influencer marketing way before the word influencer marketing even existed. So they are neither spending money on marketing and they are growing organically through word of mouth. From outside it might seem a golden recipe, but still there is a small problem with this strategy. This strategy only works if a person is interested in yoga. And this is where the second genius masterstroke of Lululemon comes in, which is known as behavioral residue. If you know what a behavioral residue is, please skip to this timestamp, else here is a simple explanation for you. Let's say we want to start a cape company named Rural Monkey, and what we did was print our company logo in front of the cap, so that when a customer wears our cap, the logo will act as a medium to get the public visibility. But the catch over here is, it only works when the customer is wearing our cap, and for the products which are not visible outside, such as socks and undergarments, getting public visibility is next to impossible. And here is where a behavioral residue will comes in. A behavioral residue is something that generates social proof even when the product is not in use. A classic example is No Save November. People, if you don't know how the trend of No Save November was started, in the year 2009, there was a group of friends who decided not to save for 30 days in the month of November. And this trend became so popular in their college that they decided to do this again next year November. But this time they decided to put a cause behind their effort. And that cause is what we know today as Men's Prostate Cancer Day.
November is an annual event held in November that involves growing a mustache to raise awareness for men's health issues like prostate cancer and men's mental health.
And the movement gradually became so popular that following years, more than 50,000 people joined this movement, and the foundation raised more than 174 million worldwide. Here is how they created a behavioral residue, by giving a tangible mark to support an abstract cause. And in case of Lululemon, what they did was, they started giving reusable bags with their products, which can be further used as a grocery bag. And even when the customer is not wearing their clothes, if she is using the bag for grocery, it creates a behavioral residue, which leads to more public visibility. And more public visibility means more word-of-mouth publicity for Lululemon. And the same strategy was implemented by DMart. If you ever visit a DMart store, you might observe that DMart stores are not at all fancy, and they only decorate those things which are absolute necessary, except one thing, that is this premium quality grocery bag, printed with DMart in its front, which can be further used for other shoppings. And this takes me to the third and final step of their success, that is pioneering vertical integration and D2C business model.
And it seems to me that you more or less pioneered vertical retailing about 2 years before Apple stores. So, do you think Apple copied you?
Well, yeah, I do. I think that by going direct to consumer and using this new model, I think Apple and Tesla followed that quite quickly.
If you have watched our BYD case study, you already know what a vertical integration is. If you don't, here is a simple explanation of vertical integration in terms of retail industry. There are basically 6 steps involved in a retail process: R&D and design, manufacturing, distribution and logistics, branding and customer engagement, retail store or e-commerce, and finally after sales customer service. So instead of outsourcing every process and white label to sell in their own brand name, Lululemon gets involved in most of the process, which saves the margin and gives better control over the quality. Lululemon has its own R&D team of 50 members. As a result, we get to see groundbreaking innovations like Luon and Nulu fabric, which are twice comfortable and durable than normal fabric, and their iconic inline design, which makes the thighs look slimmer. They have their own distribution, which enables them a better inventory management. They own and operate their stores, where they focus on educating the customers about the product instead of bargaining with discounts and offers. To give you an example of the same, if a beginner comes and asks for a premium yoga pant, then a Lululemon executive will not suggest her the most expensive one, even if she has the budget to buy. Instead, he will first educate her about different products and their use case, and even insist her to go with a starting variant, because it is good enough for a beginner. And with addition to that, they also provide free stitching and trial and return services, which leads to better quality control and customer satisfaction. Where Nike and Adidas are dependent on big-name celebrities to position their brand, Lululemon triggers the core principle of human nature, that is building a sense of community among the customers. And when in 2023 it faced with duplicate product issue, they handled it with a non-conformist approach that surprised the entire industry. Instead of taking action against the duplicate products, what Lululemon did was, they ran a #Dupe Swap campaign, where they said if you have a pair of Lululemon duplicate, you can exchange it with an original one for free in our store. Well, from outside it might seem a complete madness, but in reality it turned out to be a well-planned strategy, which gave 3 major benefits to Lululemon. Number 1, they said if you want to exchange, first you have to register in their website, which means they got the information of those customers who likes their brand but yet don't have money to buy. And as it turns out, 50% of people who participated in this campaign were completely new customers who were under the age of 30. Finally, this campaign got so much traction that #Lululemon Dupe got free publicity worth 150 million views alone in TikTok. And the customer got the message that they are a part of community that don't judge them for using duplicate products.